Oh,
They gotta
oh my
pass it.
God, we have to talk into a microphone?
Well, what's the matter with those?
Well,
You probably better handle
Don't
it.
anybody ask me a question.
We should. Just put one.
You hear that?
What's that?
No one is to ask me a question.
I want to ask you a question, why
Yes, do
not?
not refer anything to me.
Whenever anyone is asked a question, they should refer it to Cheryl immediately. Say, well, I could answer that, but Cheryl, why don't you take it?
Cheryl who?
Thank you, Charlie.
we're just introducing the members of the committee.
That's all, sure, you don't worry about
Don't worry about anybody
it.
else.
They don't want to come, that's all right.
There'll be no trouble.
Why?
Maybe the other
We
one.
hear Phil Nellen switching his voice.
Our board of directors at Wilmington WCTV, and it will be a call-in program where you, the viewers, can call in on our number 657-4066. My name is Mike Nastepsky. I am presently the president of WCTV, and I would like to introduce some of the board members that are here tonight. Starting at my left is Jim Lyon. Next to Jim is seated Don Laird, Mr. Steve Konachuk, J.T. Turner, Cheryl Soderquist, Charlie Gilbert, Tom Barrasso, and Paul Dion. This is roughly half of our board. We're a board of 15 people right now, and we are responsible for WCTV and putting together its policies, procedures, and the financial aspects of the station. The actual content of WCTV is the responsibility and the results of you people in Wilmington. We do not dictate what goes on the air. The programming is generated by the people of Wilmington, in addition to some of the programs that we do get from other public access channels in the area. What I would like to do before we start our talk show would have Charlie Gilbert give us a little bit of history of WCTV, since he's been involved with the station since its very, very beginning, which was back in, I believe, 1987, Charlie. Is that correct?
That's about right, yeah. Actually, it started before that with the original Cable Access Committee, which was formed by the former town manager, Buzz Stapczynski, back, I would say, I don't know exactly, but I'm going to say around 1984, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen. And they were charged with negotiating a contract with Continental Cable for the purpose of first, permitting Continental to work in town, and second, providing the funds, rather, for access, which resulted ultimately in the signing of a contract, the appointment of a board of directors by the Board of Selectmen and the previous town manager. There were 15 people originally appointed, and from then on we were on our own. Not that we weren't when we started, but the fact is that the board and the corporation itself are autonomous. They're totally separate and independent of the town. And the funding is provided by Continental Corporation from what we call the access fee, which is paid by you subscribers as a portion of your bill. The Cable Act back in 1984 provided for such services to the various towns. Wilmington is extremely lucky in this respect in that, one, the board of directors of WCTV is autonomous. Two, that they control the funding that comes from the cable companies. And of course, thirdly, that they are totally divorced from the political process, which enables the crew and the volunteers here to produce shows as they see fit, without any restrictions other than those governed under the Constitution, for instance, the right of free speech and so forth, which are guaranteed to all of us. Any member in the town is free to come down here and for a small fee become a member, use our services and so forth. But that's a little bit beyond what I'm intended to talk about. What I intend to talk about is generally the history. None of the original board members are here any longer. I'm the only one so far that has come back, which is not really surprising, because there have only been a few that had the opportunity. Some have moved elsewhere. One of our restrictions is that, caveat really, is that we may only serve 2 terms, and then we must go out for a year. This is to ensure that new blood, fresh ideas, and new personnel come in and take over to see how, not only how the system operates from here, but how the system operates in the town so that people will enjoy it more. Thank you, Mike.
Like I say, this is a call-in program for you, the people of Wilmington, so you can call in on our number. It's 657-4066. Any questions or comments you would like to, address, we will be glad to answer them. Like I say, this is a call-in program. We'd like to hear from you. If, in the meantime, what we can do is we can have J.T. Turner, who is our membership chairman, talk about WCTV week that we are presently kicking off tonight, and he can tell you about the membership drive that we presently have going on. JT, please.
You bet. I just want to mention, though, Mike, that I don't know if you've ever watched, there's a great show here on WCTV called Tuesday Night Out.
Yes.
And on Tuesday Night Out, when they want to get you to call in and come on Tuesday Night Out, Steve Knights usually jumps up and down on the furniture screaming out the telephone number. I think it would be appropriate if you did something similar to that, don't you? Not a chance they don't have it. But it is 657-4066. Please call in, because nothing could be worse than all of us having to talk for the next 40 minutes or so.
Right.
I am the head of the WCTV membership committee this year, and this is WCTV week. And during this week, we are really trying to reach out to the community and get more members involved. One of the ways that we'd like to do that is to offer anyone who would like to become a member of WCTV 50% off our usual annual membership. Now that sounds like a great deal. And when I tell you that you can have access to WCTV, that you can come in and produce programs that you think up, that you work on, or that you can run cameras or lights and sound, and I tell you, you can do that and have access to this tremendous natural resource, and you can do all that for $5 for the entire year. That's a pretty good take, in my opinion, and I hope that there will be a lot of you out there who will come on down to WCTV and become members for $5. Not bad at all. Let me tell you a little bit about what we have planned for WCTV week. This evening, of course, you're watching our live call-in show. Did I mention it's a call-in show and you can call in during the show? What was that number again?
Number is 657-4066.
And he's doing this without any rehearsal, ladies and gentlemen. He's really good. Later this evening, if you're watching Channel 30, you can see an excellent show, which is produced by a Wilmington resident. It's called Glen TV. It's a great local music show, and we invite you to watch that. Tomorrow evening, we have a very special event. We have a live concert out on the town common that'll run from 7 to 9 o'clock, and you'll also be able to watch it on Channel 30. Wednesday night, we're going to have another live call-in show where you can call 657-4066, just like you can now,
Right.
and talk to a couple of local representatives of our town government. Thursday evening, we're having a very special membership drive, and you'll be able to call in and watch some people that work at WCTV, watch some live entertainment, and most importantly, have an opportunity to become a member of WCTV. And I can't stress enough that that's what this entire week is about. And finally, on Friday, we're having an open house down here at WCTV from 6:30 to 9. We invite you to come on down. Saturday, we have a special event. At the Shawsheen School at 3:30, there's going to be a live children's performance of the theatrical group, if you will, called the Court Jesters. And that's open to any Wilmington resident, their friends, their relatives. Bring the kids on down to the Shawsheen School. It's in the cafeteria at 3:30. And that's a way of WCTV, again, reaching out and letting you and your families know about what's going on down here. I guess that's just a brief input about what's going on during WCTV week. There's fuller schedules around town and certainly in the newspapers, but with your permission, Mike, I thought that one thing that might be of interest to people watching WCTV is if we could just find out from the board members why they joined WCTV, what brought them down here, why they bother. I guess I could start down maybe with Paul and we could just go right across the line. Paul, what brought you to WCTV? How come?
Well, I've been associated with WCT for over 3 years. Quite frankly, I took a course at Chelmsford for I think it was 7 or 8 weeks because I had heard about the station and I wanted to become involved, and it helped me out quite a bit. And then right away, I became a member of the station. I've been a member ever since. I've been on the board for over 3 years, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Great. How about you, Tom?
Well, I'm new in Wilmington. I only moved here about a year and a half ago. And one day at the Elderly's, the old chairman of the WCTV, she came up there and she's looking for volunteers. So I joined, I took the class. Now I'm taking a lot of videos from selectmen's meetings and the elderly meetings.
That's great.
And I think I'm having a ball here. And they put me on the board of directors.
But are
That's
you
all I
having a
got
good
to say.
time, Tom?
I'm having a ball.
Where else could you get a top job so easily?
Right.
The pay is excellent.
Right. How about you, Charlie? You've been involved with WCTV for many years. What first made you interested in this sort of thing?
I'll tell you one thing, that it wasn't what I see on cable. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of generally appalled by what I see on cable. We put on probably the best shows in town, and I know that sounds like I'm bragging, and I am.
So when you say
I
cable,
started-
you don't mean us.
Of course not.
Oh, good.
Of course not. No,
my heart
nobody in the
flip-flopped a
INET
little.
can do
All right.
anything wrong as far as I'm concerned. I started out, I was asked to serve here initially because of my involvement on the Council on Aging. At the time I was appointed to this board, I was on the Council on Aging, and I later became the vice chairman. And we started out, as I stated earlier, with 15 directors, of whom I forget if it was 3 or 4 never really showed. Obviously, they had had enough with the formation board, and they figured that they had done their civil duty, I expect. It has been a great experience for me, especially the job of setting up the corporation. I was one of the original co-chairmen, and then became treasurer, and as time progressed, I became president and was so for about 3 years. I've been involved in all of the stages of the, construction of the studio. We were here before there was a studio. As a matter of fact, we were here before we even knew where we were going to have a studio. Initially, one of the premises that this was formed under was that we would be closely associated with the school system, and the space that we were offered was not really suitable to put a studio in, so we rejected it. And then we looked around town for various sites and settled on this one. While not ideal, it's been perfect from our point of view because it provides us a central location, handy for the people, and had plenty of room for expansion. In the intervening years, I would expect, and I don't know the exact figures even though I'm treasurer now, but I would expect we've probably spent $125,000 or $130,000 on equipment and fixtures in this facility. And so that we are able to program from around 20 locations in town and provide the services that we do, for instance, the selectmen's meeting, the school committee meetings, and the town meeting, which the town meeting is one that I particularly enjoy doing because I really don't like to miss out on the action on the town meeting floor, although at times it can be tedious, I think is a good word. the end result is that you see democracy in action, which is what we're all interested in, I think. And I think I came back for the same reason. I like to make sure, this is almost like having another kid for me. I want to make sure that things go along. I'm sure this place would get along without me, but sometimes you get the feeling, well, you just want to get your hand back in the cookie jar once more, and I did that. And I'm very pleased to be here.
Great. How about you, Mike?
Well, before I come back with my story, I just want to remind everybody this is a call-in show. I realize we have other programs on our other channels right now, and maybe everybody's watching those other programs, but if you happen to be watching Channel 30, which is the channel we're on right now, please call in. We're at 657-4066. Now I'll tell you about, oh, I don't need the mic, I'm all set here. I'll tell you about myself. I joined WCTV 3 years ago. What had happened is I had been at a basketball game and I was watching a parent filming the game, and after the game was over, I saw him running from one side of the court, you know, run back to his camera to the other side, and I asked him what he was doing. He said, well, my son's playing in the other court, but I'm filming this game here so it can be aired on WCTV. So, you know, naturally I said, well, if it's a simple camera to use, I'll gladly volunteer and film the game so you can watch your son play. After the game was over, the gentleman, Pat Hoffman, he said to me, gee, how would you like to get involved with WCTV? You know, we have a board meeting coming up. You could, you know, join the board and get involved. And this is what I did. I came down to the meeting, became a board member, and have been involved, like I say, for the last 3 years. I've been a treasurer at WCTV prior to being president this year, and I've also done a lot of filming of different basketball games, the town meeting, the election night coverage, which we carry, and it's been an awful lot of fun. I had the opportunity to meet an awful lot of really exceptional people in this town, and it's real enjoyment because you get to do things that, you know, you watch TV and you see things, and here you can come down in the studio and actually do them. If you've never been down to the Swain School, if you happen to be a former student of the Swain School, you would be amazed what we've done to this place. We're located in the basement of the school, and we are in a studio. We have 2 editing suites with all kinds of equipment, which I'll have Paul Dion talk about a little later on in the show. But you can come in here and put together programming, work with Sam, our general manager, and he can help you with, you know, putting your program together. And you can have an awful lot of fun here. You can meet an awful lot of people, put programs together that, you know, you can have it put on the air, and other people besides yourself can enjoy them. And believe me, there's a lot of people in town that enjoy seeing what we put on this station. There's a lot of good programming that comes out of here because everybody has different ideas, and they really put some good things together. That is my story, and like I say, this is a call-in show, so 657-4066 is the number. If you would like to call in, please, you know, do so right now.
Just to let us know that the phone actually works, we would certainly appreciate if someone would call in. Maybe we could get the microphone passed down here. Cheryl, you are very involved in WCTV. Yes. You do a lot of educational programming. But what lured you down here to the station originally?
My husband.
Yes, you can meet your future spouse here at WCTV.
No.
Call 1-900-LONELY. No, I'm making that up.
No, he was involved, and he had taken the course, and he really had a good time with it. And I guess through him, and then my involvement in the high school PAC, meeting Sandra Curtin, who was on the board of directors at the time, we got involved that way, Sandra and I, filming a lot of the things that we did at the high school, basically. And then I ended up on the board of directors, and Sandra and I have continued on with educational programs, and we film the school committee meetings and things like that, and it really is a lot of fun. I mean, you can come down and just kind of experiment with things. There's all kinds of interesting ideas that people have that they can utilize the studio for, and it's really a lot of fun, and it is a nice place to meet people, like you said, Mike. So if you have any questions, you can call at 657-4066.
Great.
That's it.
My story is a very brief one. I'm a ham, and they told me I could be on TV if I came down here. Let's move on to Steve Komenchuk. Steve, what brought you to WCTV? Why do you come down here?
Well, basically, maybe for the last 2 to 3 years, one of the programs that WCTV has run, and I'm sure it'll run this year, they had the open house with Santa Claus. So one of the organizations, I believe the Lions, usually host it, and Santa Claus comes in and talks to the kids. For the last 2 years, I brought my daughter, and not only did she enjoy it so much, I really like seeing the behind the scenes. I do a lot of my own videotaping, like I'm sure a lot of viewers out there do tonight. And sometimes people, you get a camcorder and you think that's about all you can do with it. And seeing the behind the scenes in this station, I mean, it's not some of the major network stations, but we're pretty higher level than the standard user would be accustomed to. Well, seeing the behind the scenes got me interested. And as usual, you procrastinate a little, and little by little, I get interested in usually the bulletin board, which a lot of people don't watch as much as they should. There's usually listings of what the courses are open. And the fees, I'll remind people, because this was a nice thing that the board, which half the board members are here right now, did. The fee at the time was $30 in annual membership. And believe me, the training, and I was a user, a pretty professional user, for a home user anyways, the things I've learned in the studio was well worth that fee. Since then, our legislative process here, we're trying to get the community more actively involved, and what we wanted to do was eliminate one of the financial barriers. I mean, the times as they are, and we bang that down to $10 annually, and now with WCTV Week kicking off, we're lowering that to $5. It's $5. It's almost ridiculous to talk about it. The course, the material, the experience that's gained for that $5 is immeasurable. Anyways, make a long story short, I got involved with the station, involved with some of my classmates, and you'll see a couple, one right next to me, you'll hear from him next. And we've been doing some behind-the-scenes production work, which I personally like. There's some technical work that I don't really like this in front of the camera work. Behind the camera work is a little bit more to my liking. And that really kicked it off, and someone actually dared me to become a board member. I won't elaborate on who that was right now, but in the decision-making process, it's very interesting. I mean, we make a lot of decisions for the community. A lot of people are involved in sports. That's very important. I have a small girl, and whether it be soccer or softball or Pop Warner football, I'm sure I'm leaving someone out, and I'm going to make someone angry, basketball or t-ball. This is another way to give a little back to the community, a little bit of civic pride, and it's fun. It's fun for adults, the board members. We have some equipment people. We have little groups that either design a studio or design the equipment upgrade. Right now, we've just purchased, and I'm sure this will come up, and I'm going to step on someone's pre-prepared statement. We just bought a brand new Amiga toaster system, which to people like myself and a few other technical interested people are very interested in this up-level PC and some of the graphics that can come aboard. So these improvements are there. You don't have to be a board member to take advantage of them. And you can be, after being a member, you can sign on for some of these committees and help make these decisions, or you can just enjoy the services of the station. It's fantastic. It's like a club. It's ageless. It can be young kids from school welcome. People from the elderly centers up here are welcome. The average people anywhere is welcome, and it's fun. It's real fun, and there's a lot of friendship here, and it's just a lot of fun, and you do have that sense of giving a little bit back to the community.
We'll, absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more, and I think we actually have someone on the phone. Thank you, whoever you are. Let's take a call.
Hello, you're on the air.
Hi. I just wanted to ask the panel a question. I want to know why every time we see a game on Channel 6 or 30, why we can never hear the voices.
It's a great question, and only kidding, only kidding. It is a good question. I'm not a technical expert. Who can handle that best? Notice how everyone looks away.
It's purely ran by volunteers. She has to understand that the people are trained now whether or not they're running the monitors or not.
Yeah, I'm getting some input from Sam Sharman, our general manager. One of the reasons is that, first of all, you have an all-volunteer station. And an all-volunteer station means you have different levels of people at different abilities, basically. That has been a problem in the past and to some degree has been alleviated. There are modulators and all those technical things that I really know nothing about, but I wish someone else did, that have been adjusted and addressed. Charlie?
There are a couple other problems that a lot of people aren't aware of. And one of them is that people don't talk to the microphone. They think they talk to one another, you see. Some people's voices, like my own, carry pretty well across the room, but there are many others that do not do so. And the fact is that if the people don't address the microphone, all the technical expertise in the world will not give us a good audio. Tonight's director is 14 years old, and I'm told that he does a pretty good job as director. Now, we will,
3 weeks is on the camera.
one of our camera operators is a 3-week operator. Now, it'd be interesting to note if anybody notices any improvements or any disadvantages to this broadcast for those reasons. I think that with the caliber of people we have giving and taking the courses, that you will notice an improvement. But don't forget, the technical people, only the technical people, they remain in the background. The camera operators, directors, and most of the people, including myself, are amateurs, as are the actors. The actors have to be prompted to speak to the microphone, not to each other and or the camera. Because if I talk to Mike beside me and I face him and talk to him, this microphone is not going to hear me, and the microphone could care less what I'm saying to him.
So basically, we want you to come on down, become a member, and learn sound. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
In addition to that, we are also looking at purchasing a piece of equipment to use in our playback system, which will automatically sense lower volume and bring it up to an audible level. So hopefully in the coming months you'll see a major improvement in what we put out over the air. And if you don't, please call in and let us know so we can still work on the problem. Thank you.
I think we have another phone call. Hello, you're on the air. Maybe you're not.
They were only fun.
Hello, you're on the air. No, he's gone.
Okay, no. All right. Let's, okay.
Not there.
It's still on though.
Okay, let's continue on now with
With interviewing.
interviewing. Here we go.
Yes, my name is Don Weird, and I'm an artist, an illustrator, and a photographer. And last winter, I saw the ad in the newspaper for the course here at WCTV, and I came down. I took the course and met some people here, and got involved with production of television. And one of the television shows I got involved with was Glen TV, and that's been running for, what, 2 months now, 2 or 3 months, and that's also going to be live tomorrow night on, was it 7 o'clock? And
Yep, 7 to 9 on the town.
7 to 9 tomorrow night, yes. And where else can you, the general public, come here off the street, take the course, and become involved in television production? It's a great place to do it.
Great, thanks, Don. How about you, Mr. Lyon?
Oh, you would. Okay. For quite a while, I was interested in using camera equipment, and in fact, back when I was younger, I used to make old Super 8 movies quite a bit. And I never actually knew public access existed until a little over a year ago, when I was flipping through the stations and I saw the call we put out to get new members on the bulletin board. So I called up the station, came in, started taking classes. It took the manager a whole 5 minutes to sell me on this. It wasn't tough. And it is a lot of fun. You learn a lot. You have a lot of fun here. You really do. That's about it for me.
Pretty wide variety of people, wide variety of reasons to join WCTV. And again, it is membership week. We would love to have you as a member of WCTV. And you can do that by paying an entire $5 this week only and calling 657-4066. Back to you, Mike.
Okay, like JT says, our number is 657-4066, and we would like you to call in with your questions or comments. In the meantime, what I would like to do is have Paul Dion, who is the chairman of our Studio Design Committee, talk a little bit about what we have at WCTV, what type of facilities we have, and the equipment that you can have fun working with.
Well, Studio Design Committee, the reason for having one is basically it takes in quite a wide variety of things. It takes in the actual studio that we're shooting in right now, any and all of the equipment, the settings, which is, by the way, we just had brand new. We've got a system here where we can have 2 different backdrops go around the complete room, similar to the drops in a hospital bed in a room. Very, very state-of-the-art. We're in the process right now, and I believe they're on order, in purchasing some added light. We feel that we don't have enough lighting here, and this is one of the main purposes of the Studio Design Committee, is to all the time keep improving on our equipment. We also have a 3rd camera, which when I came aboard, we didn't have, studio camera. We have several camcorders that you're able to take out once you become a equipment member. Do different shoots, sporting events, so anything around town. We also have, just in the past year, we've made some additions to our editing suites. We added a super VHS editing suite. We originally only had 1 VHS editing suite. We also have a state-of-the-art automatic playback system. When I first came aboard, we used to have to have volunteers to come down and physically change the tapes. We don't do that anymore. We have an automatic playback system by which we can have 3 different programs on each and all channels at the same time, and it's all done automatically. One of the things we did during the past year was to improve the security system. We also looked into some air conditioning that were still still getting done, and we're also looking into some alarms, fire alarms, so that it'll better serve the people who either here, volunteers or anybody that's in the studio, say guests, in case of an emergency. Other than that, I can't think of anything else.
I think we have a phone call.
Phone call right now, so let's see what we have.
Hello, you're on the air.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening. I don't have a question for you, but I just happened to be scanning through, and I saw the picture, and I see a couple of gentlemen on the board that I recognize, and I do want to congratulate you people, and I know you're going to do a good job and keep up the good work. That's all I have to say.
This isn't my mother, is it?
No, but everybody's in there.
What a nice phone call. Thanks very much for calling.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we have another phone call.
We lost the call on 2.
You lost the call on 2? Okay.
They'll call back.
They'll call back. Please call back if we lost you on this last call. Our number is 657-4066. And as I was saying, this station here is run by the Board of Directors. As far as the activity of the station is run by the people that are involved with it. The board does not get involved with selecting the programming that goes on the air. That is done by the people that volunteer. And the scope of programs can be anything you want. If you've watched different nights, you'll see quite an assortment of programs, especially in the last year and a half. We've made a lot of new programs. When we first started out, there wasn't that many because we only had 2 cameras. Right now, we have, I believe it's 7 portable cameras, which are available to be used by equipment members. And to become an equipment member, all you need to do is sign up, and if you sign up this week, it's a $5 fee, and take one of the courses, which will teach you how to use the equipment so that you can produce a quality program that will be put on the air. And it's a lot of fun to do this. The camcorder is a very simple piece of equipment to use, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay, I think we have a phone call.
Okay?
Hello, you're on the air.
Hi.
Yes?
Hi, do you have a question?
We were just wondering if it would be possible to have the no school announcements put on when there's no school in the town.
What a great question.
Good question.
I guess I would say that would depend on the superintendent of schools and how he wanted to handle it. It's a great way to advertise it, and I don't think anyone's really ever thought of it, to be honest
That's a
with you.
great suggestion.
We have to watch the network, and they roll all the schools, all the towns and cities.
The only problem that I would see with that was someone would have to be notified to have it put on the air, and then they'd have to be able to come in and make sure it got on the screen. So that would be the only difficulty with that, and there's not always someone in the studio to do that, especially at that hour of the morning, because it'd have to be on very early.
6 o'clock.
And there's usually no one in the studio at that time. That's the only problem. That's
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a great idea.
It is a great idea. We have talked
We had
about
that
this.
idea a long time ago,
Um,
and we do it.
And we have talked about this with the board, as looking at a feasible way of doing this. The problem we've had in the past is, even though you may see programming on the air at various times of the day and night, the studio is not manned 24 hours a day. Right now, we only have 2 people on board, Sam and Bob, and they work specified hours. So in the morning, at 6 in the morning, when you would need to put this information on, there is nobody in the studio, even though there is stuff appearing on the air. And we are looking at how this could be done in order to allow this information to be put up there on the screen on the electronic scroll that we have right now. But right now, if we have any more calls, our number is 657-4066. What I'd like to do is, if Paul, do you have anything else to tell people about the equipment that we have?
No, I can't think of anything else.
Okay. Some of the equipment, Steve Konachuk mentioned what we call a video toaster, and for most people, it's a foreign-sounding name and very misleading. What it is, in I guess you call it layman's terms, if you watch your network news at night and you see these fancy roll-ins where they bring, especially like Channel 5, let's say, where they show the New England and they do the world coming through on the picture. This is what we have the capability of now doing with this type of equipment. And it just takes time for the members to learn how to use the equipment, and once they do that, they can create their own type of graphics and add them onto their own videos and put it on the air. I mean, this is a really fantastic piece of equipment we just purchased. Let's see what else we
Let me just pipe in if I can.
Okay.
Remind people to call 657-4066 if you do have a question. One of the things I want to mention, someone mentioned a little earlier that our tech director tonight was 14 years old. Let me tell you a little story behind that. The first time I came down to be filmed on WCTV, I had no idea what to expect. I had been on camera before in the past, but never on a local access station. When I came in here and I took a look at my cameraman for the evening, who was the same gentleman who's tech director tonight, a young man named Chris Cassidy. Chris standing there barely clearing the top of the camera, and being 14 years old, I was a little concerned. But let me tell you, the young people that work at WCTV are among the most talented and one of the greatest resources that we have at WCTV. Chris does a phenomenal job. He does his own sports show, and as a matter of fact, I insist on him as my cameraman now. Of course, they don't listen to me, but I still insist. And I share that story with you just to let you know your age really doesn't matter at WCTV. We have entire families involved at the station, and it's a great thing for a family to come down and get involved in and learn about. And we invite your family to do that. And we do have special family rates. If your household would like to join WCTV, that normally costs you, I think it's $20 a year. I'm going off the top of my head. We are cutting that in half. And if you're out there and you and your family would like to join, you can do that for 50% off as well. So it's a great thing to do with the kids. It's a great thing to do to bring your family together and work at a great resource here in Wilmington.
I think we have another phone call.
Great.
Hello, you're on the air. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Can the school come down and have a tour in WCTV?
Yes, they can. You have to just check with the general manager as to when it's available, but that's a great idea to ask your teacher to bring you down to the studio to tour it.
Which school do you come from?
What school do you go to?
Woburn Street School.
Boomer Street? Okay.
Straight school. Great.
We'll have Sam make sure that we get in touch with the school and set up a date to have him come down and tour the studio.
Okay.
Okay?
Maybe we'll get you on film.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Like JT's saying, you're never too young and you're never too old. I mean, we have seniors here that are also involved with WCTV and do a lot of our filming, and they do an excellent job, and they have a lot of fun doing it. They have a lot of activities in town where they have the time to be able to get to these activities and film them and put them on the air, and it's amazing how many people enjoy watching these different programs that are on the air. One of the activities that I feel that I've had the pleasure of seeing the number of volunteers come to is the town meeting. This year we aired a town meeting, and unfortunately we had a technical problem at the beginning of the meeting, and I hate to say we had a lot more phone calls at that time than we're getting tonight with people wanting to know how come we weren't covering the town meeting. We were very fortunate. We work with Continental Cable, who supplies our signal to the town. They helped us get our signal back on the air and get our problem corrected. But we had a list of volunteers to cover the meeting, which was really amazing. This is the first time that we had that, and nobody had to work more than half an hour to an hour at the camera. And they had somebody there sitting, waiting to, help them, whenever they wanted. So it was really great to see this happen.
Mike, when you talk about that, I think the election coverage is another one that usually gets a lot of volunteers. Maybe Steve would like to tell us about what they've done with some of the election coverage.
Yes,
I know he's worked very hard.
Gee, thank you, Cheryl. I feel like JT. The election coverage that we did this year, we had, again, there's different levels of membership here. We had a producer who doesn't like to get his hands into the technical end, but he does like to plan and line up all the guests and all the guest speakers and the crew. And we produced this thing probably better than any network, I felt anyways. We had pre-crew briefings, and one thing I wanted to stress anyways, the camera's over there now. Okay. I would want to stress that we don't scare anyone off. I mentioned myself that I'm into the high-tech kind of stuff, and there's a lot of other people that are, with this Commodore Amiga, which is a little personal computer that generates graphics. There are also some very low technical devices that the housewives or mothers or grandmothers or grandfathers or little kids can use. I mean, the staff here and the membership here is so flexible. There are some people that just like to run cameras. They don't want to have any say-so in what goes on. They just want to point and shoot and focus and zoom. That can be accommodated. There are people here that love to run the cables. They run the audio cables, and they want to be post-production, and they want to do editing. It's all done here, and you're all taught how to do it here. It's again, it's fun. It's as high-tech as you want it to get, and if you have suggestions, we have a general manager here who's paid by the station, who takes suggestions by the members, by the board members and the regular members. As we're saying tonight, if you have any suggestions on programming or suggestions for improvements, whether it be the audio quality is poor or the visual quality could be better, please call in. The staff's very accommodating. Also, whether it be improvements, there's programming improvements. Anything you want to do. A lot of people don't realize what local access is. It's the community that does this. There isn't a crew shut up in a little room somewhere waiting to cover a spill on Route 93 or something like that. It's the community. And if your kid's in basketball and you want to see them on TV, come on down. I'll pass this over to JT now, because a guy's over here going like this with his hand.
Maybe he's a cowboy, maybe not. Just to wrap up a little bit, I'll turn it back to Mike for the close, but if WCTV has a problem, it's not the sound, it's not the lighting, it's that we don't have you as a member of WCTV, and we would like very much to change that. 657-4066. Wilmington Cable TV is your greatest natural resource. Mike?
I would like to thank all the board members that are... We're out. Okay, it's all over.
Sorry. I rushed.
Okay.
See what's going on and on and on.